Horowitz was one of the most beloved pianists of all times. His coloring, his dynamics were unbelievable, and he basically could make the public cry as soon as he started playing. If ever there was a reason that I would have wanted to be born 100 years ago, it would have been to see Horowitz perform live. Horowitz taught a very small number of students, and those students give us some insight in how he thought about music and how he practiced. And you can use his exercises and his insights into piano technique to improve your own playing. Let's get started. Now, just like Rachmaninoff, he practiced slow. I'm not going to get into that today. For those of you who know me, we've talked a lot about slow practice on this channel and its benefits. But Horowitz, of course, a great master, he practiced a lot slow and deliberate, with listening very well to what he was doing. He also experimented a lot with different fingering, not only to conquer technical passages, but also to figure out what was the best fingering to express music the way he wanted. We've also talked a lot about fingering here on this channel and how important it is, you know us. One of the things that he advised his students to do was to practice slowly and every note forte or even fortissimo in the same volume, every single note the same volume, which builds finger strength. This is something my teacher asked me to do when I was very small, and also I know that Dimitar practiced like this a lot when he was small. These are all incredibly interesting and very useful things, but it's not what I want to focus on today. Today I want to focus on something very, very particular to Horowitz, and that is musical expression. And I think what is incredibly interesting is his view, or his actually translation of the word piano technique. Most of us, when we hear the word piano technique, we think about really fast and impressive passages. But Horowitz explains this more as the difference between mechanics and technique. So what he says is, mechanics is the ability to play slow, fast, even chords, arpeggio scales, octaves, trills, carpenter's tools towards an end, but not the end itself. Technique, on the other hand, is the ability to project your own musical ideas through your instrument. It includes everything which makes it possible the translation of musical thought into audible performance, control of pedal, dynamics, coloration, and most important, the ability to project emotions. Mechanics and technique must be balanced. If mechanical ability exceeds musical thought, it sticks out and suggests a meaningless performance. In other words, for Horowitz, piano technique meant being able to express yourself, your emotions, your personality through your instrument. And for him, that was the most important. He also didn't want to teach his students to play like him, to copy him, something which, by the way, a lot of teachers do, especially at a higher level. If you look into many conservatories, that's what a lot of teachers try to do. They try to make like you into a copy of them. I've experienced it, Dimitar's experienced it, and that's just not what music is about. And that's basically not why any one of us plays piano. I know that's not why you play piano. I know that's not why I play piano. And the same thing obviously was really important for Horowitz. Here's an example of an exercise that Horowitz specifically developed for his students that they could practice, and you can do this too. So the exercise is basically to take a chord, right? The 7th chord, for example, to play all the notes together, but to emphasize one note above all the other ones. For example, your 5th finger, or your 1st finger, or your 2nd finger. That in itself is already a really great exercise, to do this with different chords and different voices. But he went further. He wanted you to change the color. He wanted you to do it with pedal. He wanted you to do it without pedal. He wanted you basically to experiment with volume, to experiment with attack, a quicker attack or a slower attack. So basically he wanted his students to really practice colors just with simple chords. And this also makes me think of an exercise that Glen Gould used to do. Glen Gould definitely was another musician who believed in a very unique interpretation. And he used to challenge himself to play one and the same passage, to play it in 20 different ways. And he used to actually do it as a sort of brainstorming exercise. And he would try to do it even ugly or super ugly, right? He would not limit himself to something only pretty. He would just try to challenge himself to play different, 20 or maybe even more different interpretations, to not get stuck in one and the same, and to really train and develop your own personality. So that's another exercise that I think you would love to do. There's so many more interesting things to say about Horowitz's approach to piano playing and how he liked to practice. But I'm just gonna leave you with one more thing for today. Horowitz was very, very, very precise with his pedaling. And that's not a big surprise because pedaling, it has a huge influence over your interpretation of a piece. It's one of the most neglected things in teaching and for students. And I've actually shot a video on it. You can check it out over here. Or over here. I never remember that. I'm sorry. I hope this video inspired you about how to think about piano technique, not as something that is scary or fast, but something that helps you express yourself. And I'm very excited to announce that we soon will be launching our practice course, which is called the Practice Blueprint, basically built from years of experience to how to practice to get really, really great results. Because we know that no matter who you are, you can play piano really, really well. All you have to know is what exactly to do. Piano is not something mystical. It's not something about only talent or musicality. It's basically, if you know what to do, you're gonna get good. How good? That depends on many things, but you can get good. Thanks so much for watching. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Were you a fan of Horowitz? If you were not a fan, just don't comment.